I say, ole, ole. Well, that was beautiful. That was unexpected and beautiful. What you just watched is something that is not recommended that you do during a long water fast. That was made on purpose. It was a one-time experiment just to show you something that is not recommended. And during this video, I'm going to share with you my experience doing this 3-day water fast, why I did it, how I did it, the potential benefits, the things that you should avoid, and loads of different things that I learned during the experience in relation to my relationship with food, my relationship with energy, our internal fuel, my body, and also the concept of time, and my relationship with our ancestors, and lots of other fascinating things. But before we see a high-level view of a graphic with the entire process, let's begin with the most important thing. Why did I do this? Why? The why. So, first of all, some people may think that you can do this because of trying to lose weight or for health reasons. Okay, I didn't do it because of losing weight. I don't need to lose weight. Okay, and I also didn't do it for health reasons. Certainly, long fasts have potential health benefits, and later I will talk about it. But that wasn't really the reason. I do regularly already intermittent fasting. When I was a little boy, I never had breakfast because I was never hungry in the morning. I started having breakfast when people told me, hey, you have to have breakfast because it's the most important food in the day. All right, so I began having breakfast. But now as an adult, I began to read medical studies and about intermittent fasting, that it can provide a number of health benefits. And it's very easy because if you skip breakfast, you can do the 16-8 intermittent fasting, which means that every day I finish my dinner maybe at 8 p.m. And I eat again the next day at midday, and that is 16 hours without eating, 8 hours all the food within 8 hours. And really that for me is very natural because I skip breakfast and I don't feel hungry in the morning, so really it's not a big effort. And there are a lot of medical studies that show that intermittent fasting has really a number of good benefits for health. So I'm already doing that for health. Now it is true that long fasts beyond 48 hours, beyond 2 days, there are studies that show that both for mice and human, there can be extra benefits that you cannot reach just doing intermittent fasting. And these benefits are related. For example, I'm going to show a study now that shows that with fasting that goes beyond 2 days, between 48 and 120 hours, you may kind of provoke a reset of your immune system. For example, you're also going to encourage more the autophagy processes, etc., etc. There are a number of potential benefits when fasting goes beyond the intermittent fasting. And this has a lot to do with what we call the ketosis process. So there are two ways in which our body can produce energy. We need energy to live, and we need to get that energy from something. And we can get that energy in two different ways. And this is something that we are very lucky to have. For example, I've read that, for example, chimpanzee cannot have this dual way of producing fuel. But we have that capability because our ancestors, right in the African savanna and other locations, they needed to go, they had a big brain that consumed a lot of energy, right? And they needed to go for quite a long time, sometimes without food. So the body developed this ability to, find an alternative way of generating the energy when the primary source, the glucose, was not available. So we have two ways of producing the energy. The first one is through glucose, through the carbohydrates. We eat carbohydrates, we have the glucose, and we use the glucose to power our bodies, and especially the brain. Now, what happens when we starve the body, when we don't provide enough glucose and carbohydrates to the body? What happens is that there is another way of producing the energy, that is producing it from the fat in our bodies. Okay, and by processing the fat, there are these chemical compounds that are called ketone bodies that are produced, and you enter a state called ketosis. And during ketosis, when you have enough ketone bodies circulating through your blood, okay, you are gonna be producing that energy mainly from your fat reservoir. And this also has some other effects. Typically, the ketosis state is going to moderate your hunger signal as well. And it has a number of potential health benefits that are being studied. And again, that's why, for example, this study that I just shared, it shows that there are a number of potential health benefits that only happen when you enter the ketosis state. And in order to enter the ketosis state, you need to be depleted of the glucose. And for that, you need some time. That's why it is difficult to enter the ketosis state if you only do intermittent fasting. So typically, it's obviously easier to reach that state after you have depleted your glucose, you don't have glucose, and after 24, 48 hours, you begin to enter that ketosis state. All right, that's the thing. So let's go now to see a high-level view. All right, let's see a high-level view of the process. So this is the process in this chart that I have built. So this was a 3-day water fast, which means no food at all for 72 hours and drinking only water. That's it, only water. And taking some electrolyte pills that just contain these very, very key electrolytes that the brain uses to function. They are the electrolytes that are around our neurons: sodium, magnesium, potassium, chloride, and calcium, essential for the brain to function. But that's it. 3 days, no food at all, drinking only water. So in this chart, we're going to see a bit the high-level view. Later, I'm going to attach some videos. I'm going to attach some videos that I captured during the experience, so that you can see live how I was feeling through different parts of the process, right? And now I'm going to comment a bit my experience at an emotional level during the different phases. So everything begins, right, in my case, on the 20th of May, 0 hours, and after my last food, right, during the first really 12 hours, I was feeling fantastic, right? I stopped eating, I only drink my water, I'm feeling good, it's easy, it's great. Obviously, there is plenty of glucose in the body, there is plenty of energy still from the traditional way of processing what I eat, so everything is good. After 8 hours, I went to the mountain nearby and I ran 5 kilometers. Okay, this is really no problem, because after 8 hours, my body is still has plenty of energy and glucose, so good, it was great, I enjoyed it. All right, time continues. I arrived to the 12 hours, and 12 hours, I'm feeling great. But then, right, as I arrive, if you look at the hours below, everything began on a midday. This is 8 p.m. I went to run at 8 p.m. This is midnight. So I'm still not sleeping at midnight, and right before, I slept late on that day. I'm an owl. I typically sleep pretty late. It depends on the day. But anyway, between midnight and a little bit later, I started to feel hungry, right? But I realized my energy was good. So this is more hunger out of habit, right? You get the hunger signal. It's like a habit. My energy was fantastic. It was perfect, no problem at all. So it's interesting, right? It makes you think about that is a lot of habit involved, right? There is a researcher that recently said that 20% of the time we're eating is related to our physiological needs, and 80% is because of the habit itself. Okay, so then I sleep, right? I sleep throughout the night, and then I wake up in the morning, right? And between 8 a.m. and midday, between the 20 and 24 hours of the process, I am starting to feel more and more hungry. I feel pretty hungry, but my energy is not too bad. It's okay. So this first phase of the process until the 24 hours, it really made me reflect. I divide the entire process in 3 parts that I call them pleasure, energy and fuel, and time. So this first phase made me reflect a lot about my relationship to food as a pleasure, as an experience, as an amazing multisensorial experience that enriches our life so much. Because first of all, I was hungry and I was missing the experience as well. I realized that my energy is okay. I don't have lack of energy. I didn't have lack of energy during those first 24 hours. My energy was fine, but I was missing the experience, the taste, the touch, the colors, the smell, all of this stuff, right? So it's a combination of missing that experience, that wonderful pleasure of life that we don't want to lose, no one of us. We are just trying, right, to not to overeat and to eat in moderation, the things that we like the most. But nobody wants to lose that pleasure. It's such a beautiful part of life. It enriches our life so much, right? So that is one part of it. The other part of it is that there is also this habit, right? You are habituated to eat every certain number of hours, so you receive that hunger signal even though your energy is okay. So it's so easy to eat at that point, right? So it was tough. You can see my emoticon there. I was not bad, but it was uncomfortable, right? It's like you have to resist without eating. Your energy is okay, but it's like uncomfortable because you are receiving that hunger signal. All right, now we go to the second phase, in which the body, what's happening? After 24 hours, the deposits of glucose in the body are finished or almost finished. So when those deposits are finished, what started to happen to me? What started to happen to me is that I started to feel dizzy. I started to feel weak. And it's like, what on earth is going on, as I write in there, right? Because I start to feel like my body is like complaining. It's like going into panic or something. It was like, this is like from, as you can see, from midday until 8 p.m. on the second day. I was feeling bad. I started to feel really bad. It was very interesting because it just started to happening. And obviously, this is the transition to ketosis. There is no more glucose left, and the body begins to transition to a different way of producing the energy. And it got worse later. In fact, I wanted to go for a walk on that second day, and I canceled it. I just couldn't because after 8 p.m. From 8 p.m. on the second day until I went to sleep, I felt even worse. I had tingling. It was really odd. I had like tingling in my face. I had tingling in my legs and my feet. Like really weird symptoms, feeling very weak, feeling just bad in general. And this is what people refer to many times as the keto flu. Okay, the keto flu is you almost feel like you have a flu, but it's just because your body is transitioning to this ketosis. Now, I want to make one thing very clear. Everything that I'm describing in here is my own personal experience. Obviously, as you can suppose, this will be different for absolutely everybody. I'm sure there will be some people that maybe will feel much better or almost nothing through this process. Some people will feel even worse. Who knows, right? It will be different for everybody. This is my own, obviously, personal experience that depends on my own physiology, obviously. So I was feeling terrible until I went to sleep. And now comes the very, very interesting. By the way, this second phase, right? It made me reflect a lot about my relationship with energy and fuel. I really became so conscious of me being like a vessel that has this fuel deposit where you have to put the energy. And I became so conscious of that deposit, that depot being empty, completely empty. It's like I was empty. My battery was empty, and you become so conscious of the fact that you are an entity that needs fuel. And that you are functioning thanks to this precious and magical fuel, and that was quite a feeling. When I was lying down on the sofa, and you'll see the videos, feeling completely depleted and spent, and it really makes you appreciate that every single thing you put in your mouth, every single thing that goes into your stomach, is going into that very precious energy depot, energy or battery deposit or whatever. And yeah, we need to be careful what we put in there. That was so interesting. Okay, and then I went to sleep, and in the morning, amazing the change. I wake up at 8 in the morning, approaching the beginning of the third day, after 44 hours, right? And I'm feeling good. All the symptoms of the day before have disappeared. I mean, and it was very interesting because I have to tell you, when I was feeling so bad, I mean, I had read obviously about all of this before, and I had read that eventually this keto flu goes away. But when you're feeling so bad, you have doubts. You know, you have doubts. You're not sure. You're not sure. Is this really going to go away? What if it gets even worse? But yeah, the next morning, I woke up and all of those symptoms had gone away. Nothing. And I was feeling pretty good. And I was like, no, this is funny. I mean, I've been like 44 hours not eating. I'm feeling pretty good. I was very surprised. And anyway, I was enjoying the day, feeling good. And then is when I did this one-time experiment that is not recommended, and I'm going to tell you why not. So when I had reached 50 hours without eating, I went back to the mountain running. And I ran, I'm not going to say that I ran to the top of my speed, but, I ran pretty fast, Now, why is this not recommended? This is something very important to understand, and it's counterintuitive. Because if while you are doing a long fast and you enter ketosis, if you rest, okay, if you just rest in general and you take it very easy, then the body is gonna take the energy that it needs from your fat, okay? And it's gonna take it especially from the visceral fat. Your visceral fat is the fat that is around the organs of the body and also around the abdominal cavity. And this is not good fat, this is bad fat. So this is fantastic. If you do a long fast and you rest, okay, then the body can be gradually taking the energy from that visceral fat that is also the bad fat. This is great. But what happens if you engage in strenuous, not just walking a bit, okay, but like in a strong exercise? If you engage in a strong exercise, the body cannot cope with the amount of energy needed just getting it from the fat. So what's gonna do? It's gonna start getting the energy not from the fat, but from your protein. Okay, from the lean tissue in your body, from the muscle, and that is not good at all. That is not good at all. Instead of cutting on the bad fat, on the bad visceral fat, you are going to lose muscle and lean tissue. That is not good at all. Okay, so this serves you. This is done just to tell you that is counterintuitive, but a lot of people think, I'm going to do a long fast and, I'm going to exercise. Well, it's not recommended at all, okay? It's not recommended. It's recommended that you just take it easy, that you just lie down or read books, whatever, maybe walk a little bit, but that you really take it easy. This is something that I did really on purpose as a one-time experiment. And it was very interesting, I have to say, because there was one reason why I wanted to do it, because I thought a lot about our ancestors, right? In the African savannah, they would have to be sometimes without food, but they still would need to move around and hunt. So it was very interesting because when I did this 5-kilometer run in the mountain, I thought, maybe I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe I will not have enough energy, maybe I will collapse, I don't know. But I ran these 5 kilometers in the mountain and I ran them just as fast as always. I didn't have any problems of energy. I felt fantastic. I felt awesome, as you can see there. I didn't have any lack of energy. I ran fast as always. And that was really an incredible experience. Again, this is not good. This is not recommended. But as a one-time experiment that I did, it was an incredible experience to understand that thanks to the ketosis process, after 50 hours without eating, you are still getting the energy from the fat in this case, and you can still have as much energy as always. But again, because I engaged in a strong exercise, very likely my body had to start burning also protein, lean tissue and muscle, and this is not good. Okay, it's a warning for everybody. Okay. During this third day, there were a couple of things that I reflected upon, right? One was about the ancestors again, right? When I did this exercise, I really connected a lot with our ancestors, that many times would have to go without food for some time, but still would have to do exercise and move around. And it was amazing to feel how the day before I was like collapsing completely, so weak, and the next day I was running in the mountain after 50 hours eating nothing, and I had great energy and I was feeling awesome. And that really, I don't know, I felt very connected to our ancestors. But again, I say it for the 20th time, do not do this, okay? Don't do strenuous exercise during long fast. Is not good. You will burn protein, you will burn lean tissue and muscle. This is not good. You want to be resting, you want to take it easy, and that way you will burn the visceral fat, the bad fat. This was a one-time experiment just to actually show you what should not be done. What should not be done, but still I do have to report that I did feel awesome while doing this 5-kilometer run. But again, it was risky. You have to consider that it's risky, and you will see why it's risky because of something that happened to me at the very end of this process. Because you could injure yourself, okay? You could injure yourself easily by doing something like this as well. And I will tell you in a little bit what happened to me later. Okay, so after enjoying this, like, as you can see, from 44 to 56, 12 hours of bliss, that I would call, what happened then? What happened is that from 8 p.m. on the third day until I went to sleep, I started to feel impatient. I think, I don't know if this was one of the issues, but I had a wonderful video conference with my brother and my 2 nieces, and they were eating wonderful food. It's very interesting because before that, during the second and third day, I had a lot of food in my kitchen and fridge, food that I love, okay, and I was eating I was opening the fridge and looking at the food and feeling nothing, no hunger. Because also as you enter into ketosis, you lose a lot of you don't have the hunger signal goes away. So I was so happy, like, look, I can look at the food and I don't feel anything. It's like, I'm fine, no hunger. Okay, this is another thing that I need to emphasize. After I entered the second day, I just didn't feel hunger at all. No hunger, zero hunger. So, you can feel weak, whatever, but no hunger. But I don't know, at some point in the third day, I had this video conference with my brother and my nieces. They were eating wonderful food that I love, like, dates and things that I love. And I think I started to visualize, because of course there wasn't that much left, right? So I think I started to visualize what are the first things that I'm going to eat after I finish the fast. And I think that was a big mistake because then from 8 p.m. until 12 p.m. or whatever, whenever I want to sleep, I started to become impatient. I started to visualize foods and the foods that I love. I started to get a little bit anxious. My energy was good. I was a little bit tired. I also noticed, by the way, that I was feeling cold. Okay, so from the end of the third day until the end of the process, I started to feel cold. I mean, this makes sense, right? The body is not producing so much energy, so it's not heating you so much. So I was feeling cold. Yeah. But the energy was quite good, but I was feeling impatient. I just couldn't stop visualizing and just thinking of the wonderful food I was gonna eat on the next day. So those 3-4 hours were tough. Okay. Then I went to sleep. I don't think I slept marvelously on this night. But anyway, then I woke up and then it was nice because when I woke up there were only like 4 or 5 hours left, and so that was easy, right? So I was feeling grateful, I was feeling peaceful, I was feeling a bit cold again. And here is what I want to tell you, the other thing that you should not do, that I did. So again, I had seen that some people doing long fasts, when they woke up, they were doing some exercise like push-ups and things like that. And sometimes I do push-ups and some weights, small weights and stuff. So every morning when I woke up, first, second, and third day, I did that. I did like a few push-ups, okay, and also a few like weights. Little, but a few. So what happened? In the first day, perfect, no problem. In the second day, perfect, no problem. Now, what happened when there were only 4 hours left to finish the fast? I went down to do some push-ups. And what happened? Well, first of all, the first thing that happened is that I didn't warm up. Big mistake. The second thing that happened is that obviously after 70 hours almost without eating, my body was obviously super depleted. So I started to do the push-ups and immediately my triceps in both arms felt a pain, a pain came up, something, and I injured my 2 triceps. Obviously some fibers broke. Now, fortunately, nothing important. A couple of days later, I'm recovered. So nothing important. But again, this is a warning that doing sports of any kind during a long fast is not recommended. Okay, your body, for 2 reasons, right? One, what we said, if you don't want to burn protein, lean tissue and muscle, you don't want to do that. You want to burn the bad fat instead. And the second one is that your body obviously is not in a fantastic condition during a long fast, so you don't want to stress it too much either. Okay. Good. So that was the end of it. And now let's see a little bit the parameters. I was measuring the parameters with one of these smart scales of 1x1 that uses bioelectrical impedance analysis technology. I mean, obviously these smart scales, they're not gonna give you obviously perfect, super precise information, but I think it's enough. It's good enough to compare between the different days for sure. So in terms of weight, again, I didn't want to lose weight. I didn't need to lose weight, but just to give you some information, as you can see, 77.2, 66. I mean, as you will see, every day I was losing around, on average, 1 kilogram. Okay, so a lot of this is water. Okay, a lot of the weight that you lose is water. So this is weight that will be recovered pretty fast after the fast. So that is regarding the weight. Now, regarding the BMI, as you will see, we'll see that almost every day I was losing around 0.3, 0.4 points of this number. Okay. Now, regarding the body fat, we will see how in the final parts of the process I was steadily losing more body fat. Okay, at the beginning it wouldn't change, and then it was increasing the amount of fat that was being lost in the body, and then muscle mass that you don't want to. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, these smart scales, I don't think they can estimate well this the thing of the muscle mass. But anyway, whatever. Maybe it's a good orientation. But as you can see, some muscle mass was being lost as well, which is something that is not so good, right? Okay, so that is the summary of the experience. Again, there were these 3 phases, right? What I call the pleasure phase, the energy fuel phase, and the time and ancestors phase. Now, the first phase that really made me reflect about what a beautiful, pleasurable, a multisensorial experience that enriches our life food is, an experience that we don't want to lose, that really improves our lives. It makes it so amazing. It's not just about the energy, it's about the experience of the touch, of the scent, of the smell, of the texture, of the visual, and it makes you appreciate it so much when you realize that you do have the energy but you miss the experience, right? Then also the habit, you also feel that you have that habit. You become conscious of that fact that 80% of the times we eat, some people say, is because of the habit, not because of physiological needs. So you become more conscious that, hey, you need to really pay attention, right? And try to, enjoy that pleasure, but also in moderation, okay? Now, the second phase, again, is the fuel and energy. When you really feel depleted, when you kind of suffer, you really realize, hey, I am this entity that has this battery, and the battery, it gets depleted, and I need to take care of this battery. I need to take care of what I put inside. This is a serious thing. And yeah, you become very attached to your battery, so to speak. And then on the third day, right, these 2 things, right? The first thing is the connection with the ancestors. With ancestors, you realize what the ancestors would be going through, right? When they spent some time without eating, and still they had to move around and exercise. And we are so lucky as human beings that we have this capability to have this dual fuel way of working. 2 different ways of producing energy, through glucose or through ketone bodies, through the fat. That is amazing. That is a, that is a luxury that we have that many animals don't have. All right. So that was an incredible experience. But again, I emphasize the only problem if you do exercise during a long fast is that you are gonna burn protein, muscle, lean tissue, and this is not good. So you wanna be resting. You wanna take it easy, so that instead you burn the visceral fat, that is the bad fat. Okay. And the other point here was the concept of time. Okay, time becomes very slow. At certain point towards the end of the process, you are weaker and weaker. You start to visualize food, whatever, and you become impatient, and time goes really, really slow, and you really become conscious that about the relativity of time, right? That time is so dependent on what is going on, in your head and all around you. And that's it. And then the ending, of course, as you know, and just a reminder for everybody, if you ever do this, you need to get back to eating again slowly. And there is, as you know, after a long fast, there is the danger of what they call the refeeding syndrome. That is something that could even cause death. Okay, if you eat too fast and too quickly after exiting a long fast, that this could cause big problems to your body, and you could even die. So it's very important to start to eat very, very slowly. I went back to eating very slowly. I just ate a little bit of fruit at the beginning, and some hours later I ate a bit more, and that it should be done. I mean, there are especially risks for refeeding syndrome in fasts that are longer than 3 days, but also 3 days is quite a lot, so you need to be pretty careful. Okay. Now, if you ask me, would I recommend this experience to other people? Now, there are 3 factors that people may think about in relation to this type of experience. One is weight loss, another one is health, and the other one is the experience itself. Now, I would say this, in terms of weight loss, I would not recommend it again, because I think there are much better ways of losing weight that don't entail this suffering, because this is tough. Okay, there's one thing I have to say. When you compare intermittent fasting with this type of 3-day longer fast, it's completely different. Okay, intermittent fasting is easy and comfortable. This type of 3-day water fast is tough. This is tough. Okay, it's much harder. So I don't recommend it for weight loss. There are better ways. Now, regarding health, what I really recommend is intermittent fasting. There are a lot of studies saying that intermittent fasting has a number of benefits, and it's easy. It's comfortable. If you just skip breakfast, that's it. You are doing great intermittent fasting. 16 hours not eating, 8 hours eating in the range. You just finish your dinner at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and you eat again at midday or 1 p.m. It's easy. It doesn't really, it's not a big effort. And it has a number of great benefits that are in many, many studies around. So this is what I really recommend to people. And, you can do 16-8, you can do 15-10. There are different variations. You can look around, But I would say this type of longer 3-day water fast, this could be like a bonus. You can see that there are studies that say that there are a number of health benefits that only happen when you do longer fasts. So only when you enter ketosis and you go beyond 24, 48 hours, there are certain health benefits, maybe related to autophagy, maybe related to the immune system, etc., that may only happen after, during longer fasts, right? And this is all, of course, ongoing research, but there are a number of published studies like the one I've been sharing here. So I don't know, I would say it's an optional thing to do it for health reasons, but it's tough. You have to know it's tough, and it has to be done in the right way. And it's a harder thing than the intermittent fasting. So if you want to do this, you should study it well, get the right information through this video and other resources, right? Remember if you do it to rest. Very important to rest so that you burn the right amount of stuff, the bad fat, inform yourself as well about the medical studies and the health studies around. Health reasons. Well, there are some people that say that it could be interesting to do something like this once a year, for example. Some people say, I don't know. But in any case, the one thing I would recommend to everybody is intermittent fasting. Because intermittent fasting is very easy, comfortable, and it has a number of great benefits. And then finally, the one reason why I would definitely recommend this is the experience. because I wasn't expecting, because you just reflect and you learn so much about your relationship with food, with your eating habits, with the experience itself of eating, with the energy, the concept of energy, the concept of fuel, the concept of your body as a vessel with its battery and its energy depot, and then the concept of time, the passage of time, and the concept of our ancestors, our connection to our ancestors and how they used to live, and the concept of being able to produce energy in two completely different ways, etc., 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 etc. I mean, it's unbelievable. The experience is I mean, what you experience through these 3 days is wow. I mean, it's unforgettable. It really is a highlight of whatever period of time in which you may be doing this. So that is the one reason why I would recommend this, because of the experience. And again, if you do it, study well the information, do it in the right way, and take it easy, rest during the process. And I hope that this video gave you good information. Really, at the beginning, I wasn't planning to do a video about this. Then as I started it, I thought, who knows, maybe this is gonna be a really unique experience. So I started to document it, and as I advanced more and more through the experience, I realized that it could be useful maybe to share the experience with other people, because it made me just reflect about so many different things, and it was so interesting. And really, the change from feeling good and then feeling so bad and then feeling great, and all the different dimensions of the experience is really unbelievable, incredible. Makes you learn a lot more about yourself and your body and your physiology and everything. Okay, so that's it. I will share now a few videos that I captured live during the experience. And remember, if you like this video, like it and subscribe to the channel, because I will share more interesting experiences in the future. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. So after 8 hours, I just ran 5 kilometers in the mountain. It feels great. I have great energy. Of course, it's only been 8 hours since the beginning, but it feels great. It feels normal, all good with the energy. Yeah, so it is now 9:30 p.m. on the second day after 33.5 hours. Yeah, I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling all these weird things, like weird feelings on my feet and some parts of my body, like just weird stuff. It's almost like the whole body is screaming, like feed me, feed me. It's very interesting. And what a contrast to today. After like 30 hours, I went for a walk, and just walking, not running, just walking, it was like, I had to go tranquil, because I could feel I was tired, weakness, I guess. And tomorrow will be very interesting, because there was a dramatic change between the first day and the second day. Dramatic change, as I said. The first 20 hours, good. The first 24, pretty good. But the second day, way tougher. Way tougher. The first day really made me appreciate food as a source of pleasure and as a sort of a wonderful experience, because you feel hungry sometimes, but you don't really need the energy. Your energy is totally fine. You're feeling good, but you miss eating. I missed eating because of the experience, because of the pleasure, because of the richness that it brings to life as well. The second day is completely different. The second day you feel I became more conscious of myself as an entity, as a mechanism that needs to be fed, that needs to have fuel, that needs to be given energy. Then you feel depleted in energy. It's like the energy, the deposit is empty, and you feel it, and you feel like this vessel that has no fuel, no energy. So it makes you look at food and appreciate the food as this fuel that is essential for life. So it is now 43 and a half hours since the beginning of the fast. This is 43 and a half hours without eating. And yeah, this morning I'm feeling pretty good, quite normal. I mean, definitely better than yesterday so far. So let's see as the day advances if things change or how I feel. Now it is pretty interesting if I look at my fridge and the food right now after 44 hours without eating, I don't really feel like eating. And this is very interesting because when you are eating normally, after a few hours, if you don't eat just for a few hours and then you see food that you like in front of you, you cannot avoid, you just want it. You just jump, you go for it. But if you don't eat for 40, 50 hours, at the moment 44, and then you look at the food and you don't feel like eating because it's like the hunger, the habit has been stopped, and I don't feel anything really. I mean, I feel like, yeah, okay, ooh, a banana, my favorite dates, whatever. But yeah, well, I will eat them when I finish the fast. But I don't feel the craving. Like the craving has gone away. So these are the electrolytes that I'm taking. Okay, which, as you can see here, they contain chloride, potassium, calcium, sodium, and magnesium. These are minerals that are absolutely essential for brain function. They are used all around and within our neurons in the brain. I don't feel hungry at all. It's very interesting because only in the first day I felt like hungry, but after the first day I never feel like hungry. I feel other things, right? I felt weakness, I felt dizziness, tingling, but not hunger. But anyway, so now after 44 hours, I'm feeling pretty good, a little bit tired, but pretty good. I'm not hungry again. I don't have that, I don't have the dizziness or the tingling of yesterday. Here we are, almost 50 hours after beginning the fast. Ole, ole! Ole! Ole, ole, ole! Ole! Sí, claro que sí, ole, ole! Well, that was beautiful. That was unexpected and beautiful. So, I'm in Park Well. So, let's see what happens to a body that typically eats every 2 hours. What happens after 50 hours without eating if you run a very steep thing. I'm approaching the steep part, a very steep part. Okay, I'm in the very steep part after almost 4 kilometers. Cuckoo! Very good, very good. Happy people in Parwell. Okay, well, I just finished the run like a couple of minutes ago. I've just thrown some water on top of myself to refresh and drank some water. But I see that even after 50 hours not eating, my physical performance is just as 2 days ago. I mean, it feels very similar. It is very interesting also because I'm not hungry at all. I don't feel any hunger. By the way, I want to insist again that I don't recommend anybody to go running in the mountain in the middle of a 3-day water fast. Okay, in fact, they recommend not to do any strenuous or strong exercise during a water fast, and I also recommend it. And I'm actually feeling great in general. So it's very funny to think that I haven't eaten anything for 50 plus hours, and I'm actually feeling great. I'm actually feeling very close to normal. I mean, basically, I'm feeling normal. It's lovely here in the Park Well. I'm sure this also helps to be in the nature. Yeah. And when I think how I was feeling yesterday I was feeling very bad. Again, I had dizziness. I had tingling in my face and my legs and my feet. I was feeling very weak. I was feeling bad in general. And now it's like I feel normal pretty much after 52 hours of not eating. So yeah, it is definitely, the body definitely switches to a different way of working, that's for sure. And obviously yesterday was the transition, and it is very, very interesting because wow. And the most interesting thing is that I don't feel hungry at all. That is the incredible thing. I don't feel hungry at all. And I even put in my kitchen the food that I like, and I look at the food and I don't feel hungry. To really realize that we can do way more than we think, and we can stand way more than we think. And sometimes to get to those points, we need to go through some darkness. So again, it is also a reminder that sometimes to get to the light, you have to go through the darkness. So to get to this point today, on the third day, where I'm feeling basically normal, almost pretty normal, really normal, really pretty good. To get here, I had to go through the second day, which was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. I got back home feeling pretty good. Just lie down, relaxed, reading some things. And then my brother and my two nieces called me via video conference, via WhatsApp, and they were eating wonderful stuff, a lot of stuff that I like as well, like medjool dates and other stuff. And I haven't been feeling hungry at all since the end of the first day. So second day, no hunger at all. Third day, no hunger at all. But when I saw them now, like eating these amazing, beautiful things that I like a lot, fruit, the dates and everything, then I started to feel, it would be so nice to eat right now a juicy medjool date. That'd be amazing. So that was dangerous. That wasn't good. The theme of today is being really two things. So one thing is being the concept of time. Sometimes time really slows down a lot as you become so conscious of what is what is left until the end of the fast, and what I'm feeling every moment. So time really slows down. And really the other amazing thing was that feeling today of feeling like normal after the very hard day of yesterday. So that transition, that switch from obviously before ketosis to ketosis. So yesterday feeling those symptoms of feeling bad, dizzy, tingling, tired, whatever, and then today feeling almost normal. That has been incredible feeling. And one really thinks about our ancestors, that how our body obviously developed the capacity and the ability to do this switch, to do this change, because our ancestors needed it, because they had to be without food for a while. So the body had to develop this capacity to use the fat stored in the body for energy. When the glucose is gone, the body then makes these ketones by burning the fat that is stored in the body. And this switch is amazing. And then the appetite goes away, right? No hunger at all. But I definitely cannot wait for tomorrow when it finishes the 72 hours, because I miss the experience of the food. Again, this is one of the things that I've discovered through this process, that there is all of this, the ritual, the experience, the multisensory experience of eating. It enriches our life so much. So while doing this 3-day fast, there is this kind of like more grayness to everything. There is something missing. So beyond the physiological, there is that beautiful multisensorial experience of the food, the touch, the texture, the color, the smell, the everything. That is really, when you do a 3-day fast, you really appreciate like how incredibly beautiful that is. On the second day yesterday, I was really prepared to say, hey, I don't recommend this to anybody. I was really gonna say that because I was thinking, okay, this is tough. It was very tough yesterday. This is tough, and it's really, I mean, whatever the health benefits is, okay, I'm sure you can get those health benefits in different ways. But today I'm kind of changing my mind because this contrast between the second and the third day, this contrast between the before ketosis and the after and when the ketosis kicks off, the contrast between when you are using the glucose in the body to when the glucose finishes and you begin to burn the fat and produce the ketones, it is incredible. I mean, to actually experience the contrast between feeling yesterday so depleted, so weak, so literally so bad in general, what they call, right, the keto flu, to today feeling normal basically, and not only feeling normal, but realizing that after 50, 60 hours of not eating, I'm not hungry and I feel normal. And that is an incredible feeling. It really makes you realize that our ancestors, right, thanks to this mechanism, they would burn the fat, the ketones, they would make the ketones instead of using the glucose. They would not have so much appetite, and their performance, they could still hunt, they could still run, they could still perform physically. That's incredible. I mean, like, one really feels more connected to our ancestors. Yeah, and I have found some really new, very interesting academic studies. For example, one of them that says that, yeah, like fasting beyond 2 days again activates a lot of processes that help with regeneration and cleaning of the bad cells. It can help with like chemotherapy processes. It can help react like reboot the immune system, etc., etc. Sure. I mean, there are these studies, but again, it's tough. It's tough. So I will still not I will still not recommend it for that, just because it's a tough experience. But the reason why I would recommend it though is because of the personal experience of going through this transition. It's really, really, really interesting. It's really interesting to go from the feeling of being depleted, like having the fuel deposit empty and feeling bad and feeling like crap really, to feeling the next day normal, not hungry, and yet not have any food in you for like 60 hours, whatever. That is amazing feeling. I mean, that is really incredible. Because then you realize that, and it makes you think about that, we still have the same or almost the same physiology than our ancestors had at those times, not only in terms of the ketosis mechanism, but a lot of other things, and yet it's right. We live in such different times. For example, I mean, of course, when we have in front of us food with a lot of oil and fat and sugar, food that we like, we want to eat it non-stop. We want to fill ourselves, because of course for our ancestors, when they found that type of food, the strategy that would make sense was to fill yourself with it as much as possible, so that when there is no food, the body can switch to the other mode and use all of that fat that has been accumulated. So that would make sense at the time of our ancestors, because at the time of our ancestors, they would have some pocket times to eat, and then a while without eating. Now, the problem that we have, of course, is that we don't have those times in which we cannot access the food. We can always access the food. We can always access our favorite food every 5 minutes, every 2 hours. And that's, of course, what produces the problem of the obesity and all this, overeating and everything. So 54, after 54 hours, I have 18 left when I'm feeling like normal, not hungry. So, one feels like, hey, I could do this forever now. Like if I could be in ketosis forever, would I do it? Because the health benefits apparently would be amazing. And the answer is no, I would not do it. Why not? Because I do miss the experience of eating. That's one of the things that I get as well from this experience. That's why it's such a rich experience, because I also get a much bigger appreciation of the multi-sensorial, again, experience of eating, of touching the food, of smelling the food, or feeling the food, of looking at the food. And that enriches life so much. We just have to try to find, all of us, right, that middle ground between what our ancestors were doing and what we do, because now we have the advantage, unlike them, that we can reach our favorite foods every 5 minutes. But hey, we need to realize that that's only been possible in the last in the last decades or whatever. That wasn't possible before. So our body is not designed for that. Our body is not designed to eat every 5 minutes or every 2 hours. It's not designed for that. So we need to kind of find the middle ground to keep enjoying the amazing, unforgettable, and unexchangeable multisensorial experience of food and eating, but without going nuts and overeating and etc., etc., etc. But when you go beyond, especially 48 hours, that's what this paper says. When you go beyond 2 days, the paper explicitly says between 48 hours and 120 hours. Okay, now I'm doing 72. So between 48 and 120, you get a lot of extra benefits that have to do with entering the ketosis state. And that was very interesting. Benefits related to the immune system, benefits related to regeneration, to cleaning of bad cells and stuff, etc., etc. So it is very interesting. But again, it's tough. That's the reality. Intermittent fasting is very easy, but fasts like this, like a 3-day water fast, is tough. It's tough. So again, I still don't recommend it for the health reasons, because it's tough. I think hopefully people can find the health benefits in other easier ways, but I do recommend it to try it for the personal experience of discovering a lot of things about how our ancestors lived, this wonderful mechanism that we have to switch from using the glucose to using the ketones, the fat, burning the fat, to really appreciating more the experience of eating, to appreciating more the fact that we're these vessels that use this fuel, this energy, to appreciate more the experience of time itself and the passage of time, and to really appreciate more the multisensory richness of food, and to appreciate the incredible capacity of our bodies to, based on our state and what's happening, to switch completely the way it works. That is mind-blowing. I mean, and because you have read, and I have read, that this keto flu, whatever, is going to pass, But when you are feeling so bad, you don't really, you are not sure. You say like, is this really going to pass? I'm not sure. But then when it really passes and it changes completely the next day, it's like, it's really crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's like you are on a different body. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. I really don't like when you eat, I guess, quite a lot of food, or the type of food or whatever, and you feel this kind of like, this kind of like heaviness, this kind of drowsiness, tremendous, as the body, I guess, goes to process all the food, and then you kind of feel so like sleepy, and you cannot do anything. You cannot work. You cannot do anything. You just feel like you just collapse. And it is true that now in this ketosis state, you don't feel that. You don't feel that. you're just fine. You're awake. You're kind of permanently awake. But yeah, but at the same time, as I was saying, I do miss the multisensorial experience of food and eating because it's wonderful. I don't wanna lose that. That's amazing. So I'm looking forward to when this finishes tomorrow to get back to my favorite foods and I will enjoy them so much. But I'm grateful for this experience. This was absolutely wonderful. What is it? 57 after 57 hours. So that is 15 to the end, and it is 9 p.m. in here. So I'm having a little bit of a crisis. I haven't been hungry at all in the second day. I haven't been hungry at all in the third day. But now towards the end of the third day, I don't know if it is because I looked at the beautiful food that I love, starting to feel something, which I don't know anymore if it's hunger or it's not hunger. I really don't know anymore. It's all very confusing. But certainly something. And I think I made a mistake. I think it's related to the fact that I looked at the food, because I have started to also think and visualize on what is the food that I'm gonna begin eating after the fast finishes in 15 hours. So I've started to picture in my mind and to visualize the food and the dishes and everything. I think this was not a good idea because as I began to visualize the food, maybe that's starting to make me hungry. That could be a problem. Otherwise, I'm great. Otherwise, I'm feeling great. I felt great all the whole day. But I'm also feeling like weaker at the end of the day. And it's a little bit like yesterday. I mean, yesterday I was feeling bad in general, and then way weaker at the end of the day. Today I felt great, all day great, normal. But at the end of the day, I'm feeling kind of weird. But I think it could just be that at the end of the day, the body is, calling you to go to sleep. But when you combine the call to go to sleep with 60 hours of not eating, it probably feels like this. It feels like the typical tiredness that people may have at the end of the day when they feel like sleeping is maybe more than usual because you've been 60 hours not eating. So here we are. Now it is just around less than 1 hour to complete the 72 hours, like 40 minutes or so. This morning I'm feeling good. As you know, at the end of yesterday before sleeping, I was feeling I was kind of like visualizing the food I was gonna eat after finishing. I was feeling a bit anxious, a bit impatient. But anyway, I went to sleep. I didn't sleep a lot. But anyway, this morning I woke up and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling grateful for all the process. And I'm feeling fine. And now in a few minutes I will begin preparing the first food I'm going to eat after 72 hours with no food. Yeah, there is another interesting thing that I've been feeling yesterday evening and today as well. That is that at home I feel cold. And with the current temperature inside the house, which is 22 to 23 Celsius degrees, normally I don't feel cold. And I noticed that I feel kind of cold since yesterday evening and today. And my interpretation, I don't know if it's right, is that the body may be saving energy by not hitting me as much as usual to kind of save energy. So this may be a reason why I've been feeling cold. Oh yes, here we are. It's been 72 hours and 15 minutes and this is the first food I'm going to eat after 72 hours. 72 hours and 20 minutes later, the return of the calories and food. Here we are to begin slowly with some delicious banana and mango to enjoy again the multi-sensory experience of food. The smell, the touch, the colors, the visual. and the taste. For you all, thank you very much for this wonderful food. Oh my God. Delicious! Delicious! Thank you very much, food, for existing. I'm very grateful to this experience and this process. Thank you for watching this as well. I hope that you got some information or something useful or interesting from this video. And yeah, I will try my best now to, well, I will keep on doing my intermittent fasting 16/8, and I will try my best not to overeat the foods that I like during the time that I'm eating, but I will keep on enjoying the beautiful multisensorial experience of eating. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Oh yeah! Oh! Oh yeah! Oh mamma mia! Oh! Oh God, that's good. I think I've never enjoyed so much in my life a banana and a mango. This is the best banana in history, okay? There we go. Amazing! No way! This is the juiciest mango ever! Oh! 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 Damn it! That must be a rush of dopamine right there.